Friends, you are listening to Dr. Potana. The meditation for this time is on the judgment of God. Often we don't like to listen the judgment of God. We always like to have some appreciation, some encouragement. We always want to listen that God is good and God always blesses us with richness and God blesses us with material possessions. Of course, God is gracious, He is compassionate, He helps, He heals, and He always walks with us because He never leaves. Because Jesus said, I am with you till the very end of the age. The God who is so gracious, who is compassionate, who is loving and kind, is also a God who is justice and who practices justice, and he is just in his judgment. And we need to remember that also because Bible always talks about it. In fact, the prophets always talked about God's judgment, and they always encouraged people to turn to God, because unless we know the complete truth, we will not grow as his disciples. The Bible very clearly says, not everyone who says to me, Lord, Lord, will enter the kingdom of heaven, but the one who does the will of my Father who is in heaven. On the day, many will say to you, Lord, Lord, did we not prophesy in your name and cast out demons in your name and do many mighty works in your name? Quite interesting. Jesus replies in this Gospel of Matthew, chapter 7, verse 23. I am reading NIV, RSV Bible. And verse 23 says, and then will I declare to them, I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. You workers of lawlessness. Who are these? All of these people have invested their time, energy, and resources to build God's kingdom. They may be there, they might have invested a lot of their time, energy, and their talents and resources for God, and they have done an amazing work. But God needs an individual along with the work. And God needs the individual relationship with Him along with the work. Work is not bad. We need to work for God. And we need to do all that we can because life is very short on earth. But on the day of judgment, and I strongly believe there's very few workers will remain faithful, because faithfulness is more counted than the work that we do. But today, as I travel around different places in India and abroad, there is a lot of craziness for mission work. By hook or crook, people wanted to do something for God by violating the law of the Lord. And the holiness, personal intimacy with God, and priorities are not counted. As a result, one day God is going to count us. And standing on His day of judgment, it's not an easy to face Him, because the Lord here declares, I never knew you. Who are these people? Most of the mission leaders. And with my own eyes, I have seen most of the mission leaders, especially in India, violating the law of the Lord, practicing all sorts of things, misusing the resources, not allowing the God's chosen young people. The Bible very clearly we see when God wanted to use David, Saul had a jealous eye on him. That was the time the devil came and possessed him. And it's not an easy thing to raise leaders. And we want to be the top leaders. We don't allow anybody to come up. I never knew you. God says on the last day, I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. What is important? Is it important to follow the law of the Lord, or is it important to do the work of the Lord? When it comes to the law of the Lord and work of the Lord, most of the mission leaders choose to follow the work of the law. The work of God is important than the law of the Lord. The oppression, the marginalization, and backdoor activities. And one day God is going to judge. And my friends, let me encourage you. God needs you and me along with our work. I know there are some mission leaders who believe the concubine theology. How are they going to face the reality of judgment on the last day? And people are also addicted to such kind of mission leaders and mission workers. Most of the money goes to such people who misuse it, because there is a saying back in India, the sheep believes and trusts the slaughter. It's quite interesting thing. But we need to be careful. And we need to check with our life. We need to have our own mentors. When a mission leader climbs up to certain stages, they are not accountable to anybody, because they have become a mini gods and gurus and babas. And one day, God is going to bring all these gurus and babas to accountability. And on that day, he says, I never knew you. Depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. And not everyone who says to him, Lord, Lord, will not enter into the kingdom of God. But who will enter? The question is, who will enter? The one who does the will of my Father. What is God's will? It is God's will that I should have right relationship with God. It is God's will that I should dispel the glory of God. And it is God's will that we should dispel the darkness around us, not allowing the darkness around into our inner being, but rather dispelling the darkness out there and shining like a stars in this darkness. But where are such people? Today God expects people who can shine in the darkness with integrity, honesty, faithfulness. And today those terms are not really appreciated in a mission work. The integrity, honesty, and dignity. And let me encourage you, my friends. And one day we need to stand on the great day of judgment. And when God looks at us, we should not be shameful. And God should not say this was in your life or my life, saying that I never knew you, depart from me, you workers of lawlessness. But rather he should say, hey, you have done well and finished well. Here is my Father's kingdom. Relax and refresh. May God bless you and give you such great wealth of spirituality so that you may become a light in the darkness. Keep watching Dr. Potana's 1 minute program. God bless you.